I'm Roman Catholic. I attend a Roman Catholic parish. I love the Roman Rite. I have no plans to switch at the moment. But a few months ago, I started attending a Byzantine Catholic Divine Liturgy once or twice a month at a Ruthenian parish near me. And what I found there has changed the way I think about worship. Because for the first time in my adult life, I encountered a liturgy that wasn't trying to make God accessible to me. It was trying to bring me into the presence of something that I couldn't fully comprehend. Today I want to talk about what I found, and what it's revealed to me about the Novus Ordo Mass I've attended during my life. And why I think a lot of Catholic men are starting to ask the same questions that I am. Just some quick disclosures. I'm not Orthodox or sedevacantist. The Byzantine parish I attend is a Ruthenian Catholic, an Eastern Catholic church in union with the Pope since 1646. This isn't a video about leaving Catholicism. It's about discovering one of its lungs I didn't know it had. Pope St. John Paul II said, "The church must breathe with her two lungs, east and west." Most Roman Catholics have only ever known one. I'm only now learning to breathe with the other. The second disclosure. The Roman priest at my parish is a good and reverent man. I'm not critiquing him personally. But I am critiquing the lived experience of the Novus Ordo as it's celebrated in most parishes I've attended. And I'm going to be honest about what I found. Some of you will disagree, and that's fine. But I owe you my real opinion. The single biggest difference, the one that changes everything else, is the direction the priest faces. In the Divine Liturgy, the priest faces the altar. He faces the liturgical east, away from the people and toward God. He leads the congregation in prayer the way a general leads soldiers into a battle, from the front. In the Novus Ordo, as it's commonly celebrated, the priest faces the people. And that single change fundamentally alters the dynamic of the Mass. It stops being the priest leading the people toward God, and it starts feeling like the priest and the people facing each other with God somewhere implicit in the room. It's the difference between a leader marching ahead of his men and a host greeting guests at a dinner party. Now, here's what most people don't realize. Ad Orientem, where the priest faces the east, was the universal practice of every Christian liturgical tradition in the East and the West for 1,600 years. Then in the late 1960s, the Roman Church changed it. Vatican II didn't actually require this change. The council documents don't mandate versus populum. Pope Benedict XVI quietly celebrated Mass ad Orientem in the Sistine Chapel during his pontificate. He was gently trying to nudge the practice back. But in the lived experience of nearly every Roman parish in America, it's effectively gone. 1,600 years of universal practice abandoned within a generation. The second thing, the Byzantine liturgy preserves something that the Novus Ordo has largely lost: a clear sense of sacramental hierarchy. In the Divine Liturgy, the priest, and only the priest, administers the Eucharist. He uses a golden spoon called the cochlearion, which itself is consecrated. The bread is soaked in wine. He places it directly on the tongue of each communicant. No lay ministers, no reception in the hand. The underlying theology is that which touches the body and blood of Christ should itself be consecrated. The sacred contacts the sacred. In the common Novus Ordo, that hierarchy has dissolved. Lay extraordinary ministers enter the sanctuary and distribute the Eucharist all the time. Most communicants receive in their hand and place the host in their mouth themselves. Many parishes don't even offer the chalice at all anymore. I know this is where some viewers are going to push back, so let me be precise. The Church permits these practices. I'm not saying any of this is invalid. I'm saying it's impoverished. We had something more reverent, and we chose something more accessible. And that trade-off has cost us something real. The Byzantine practice carries a constant reminder that what you're receiving is too holy to be handled casually. The common Novus Ordo sends a different message, whether the Church intended it or not. Lex oriendi, lex credendi. How we worship shapes what we believe. The third thing, and this might be the deepest one, there's a sense of mystery in the Divine Liturgy that I've rarely found in the Novus Ordo. The Iconostasis, which is the screen that separates the sanctuary from the nave, is the most visible expression of that. The royal door is open and closed throughout the liturgy. The holiest moments happen in the spaces that the congregation can't fully see. It's not a barrier, it's a theological statement. Some things are so holy they exceed our capacity to bear them directly. There's a veil, just as there was a veil over the Holy of Holies in the Jerusalem temple. and just as Moses had to be hidden in the cleft of a rock when God's glory passed by. The Byzantine tradition keeps this. The common Novus Ordo has effectively removed it. Open sanctuary, priest facing the people, no veil, the sacred is fully visible, fully on display. It's different theology. Not heretical, different. The Novus Ordo emphasizes God's nearness. The Divine Liturgy emphasizes God's transcendence. Both are true, but over decades attending one form versus another forms a different kind of believer. There's a few smaller things that together make an enormous difference. The Divine Liturgy is sung, continuously, a cappella. No organ, no instruments. Just human voices led by a cantor. The Ruthenian chant style is called prostopenia, which is Carpathian in origin. It's easy enough for the whole congregation to sing together. Almost no silence, no spoken prayer. Everything's sung. The liturgy is also longer, about 60 to 90 minutes. Heavy with incense, filled with icons, bows, signs of the cross. Your body is engaged. Your senses are engaged. By the time you leave, your soul has been worked on through every available channel. The Divine Liturgy isn't efficient. It's formative. There's a difference. Don't get me wrong. There are things that Novus Ordo does that I genuinely love. The music, when it's done well, can be transcendent. A well-sung sanctus with a good organist in the right key is one of the most beautiful sounds in Christian worship. Kneeling during the Eucharistic prayer is deeply reverent. The Byzantine Rite stands during the equivalent moment. Both are valid, but kneeling hits different for me. Also kneeling after receiving communion to pray in thanksgiving. That's a moment of intimate adoration that I love. So the Novus Ordo isn't empty. There's real reverence available in it. The question is whether the reverence available in the Novus Ordo outweighs the reverence woven into every minute of the Divine Liturgy. And for me, the honest answer is no. Here's the objection I get when I bring this up to Roman Catholics. They say, the problem isn't the Novus Ordo. The problem is the way it's celebrated. They say a reverent Novus Ordo with ad Orientem in Latin and chanting still exists. And I'll grant that premise. A reverent Novus Ordo is possible. I've attended a handful of them in my life. They're beautiful when they happen. But here's my honest response. If a liturgy's reverence depends entirely on the rare priest who happens to celebrate it well, the liturgy has a structural problem. The Byzantine Divine Liturgy is reverent even when celebrated by an average priest. The traditional Latin Mass is reverent even when celebrated by an average priest. The Novus Ordo's reverence depends almost entirely on individual choices made by individual celebrants. And it's going against a strong cultural current in the opposite direction. And that tells me the problem isn't just bad celebration, the problem is the structure of the liturgy itself. Which raises a deeper question. Who designed the Novus Ordo? And what were they trying to accomplish? And how did their work compare with what Vatican II actually asked for? And that's a whole other video, and it's coming. I could honestly do an entire video on Annibale Bugnini alone. Maybe I will. So where does this leave me? Still Roman Catholic, still attend to my Roman parish most weeks. I still love parts of the Novus Ordo that genuinely move me. But once or twice a month, I drive a little farther to a divine liturgy I didn't know existed for the first 30 some odd years of my life. And I leave that liturgy formed in a way that the Novus Ordo, as I've experienced it, rarely forms me. If you're a Roman Catholic who's never attended an Eastern Catholic Divine Liturgy, find one near you. Drive the extra distance. Spend a Sunday there. Don't go to leave Rome. Go to discover the other lung. You may find what I found, that the worship of the early church, preserved in the East for 2,000 years, has something to offer that we in the West desperately need to recover. If you've had a similar experience, or if you completely disagree, drop a comment. I want to hear both sides. Part 2 is coming, where I'll walk through what Vatican II actually called for versus what got built. Hit subscribe and give me a like if you want to be there for that one. I'll see you in the next one.